please.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. First of all, I want to congratulate Rona Mackay for securing this important debate. As convener of the cross-party group on visual impairment, I recognise how challenging dual sensory loss can be for people, as this has been raised at some of our cross-party meetings in the past. It's also been brought to my attention by a constituent with dual sensory loss. Now, she made me aware of the Nordic definition of deafblindness, and I've since set up a meeting with the Deafblind Scotland's Chief Executive, Isabella Goldie, to discuss this in more detail. But I believe she and others involved in the work are in the gallery this evening, so I do also want to pay tribute to them and also welcome them to the Scottish Parliament. Presiding Officer, as per the motion before us, it's clear to see why Scotland needs to adopt a formal definition of deafblindness. And first and foremost, this would help us identify, diagnose and ultimately better support people with dual sensory loss in Scotland. And dual sensory loss often occurs over time, meaning the lack of joined-up services can be problematic. For example, if people who are deaf and use British Sign Language develop age-related conditions, they lose their ability to communicate in their first and often only language. And had earlier support been provided, it would have allowed for tactile communication to have been taught. Equally, people with sight loss who lose their hearing can become isolated with limited communication avenues. And that's why I support adopting the Nordic definition of deafblindness in Scotland, especially as this is already the case elsewhere in the UK and also within the European Union. Regarding the Nordic countries, and it's worth noting that after adopting this definition, they went on to deliver better services and early identification of those at risk of a second sensory loss. And therefore, Presiding Officer, Scotland can learn from other nations about how best to develop care pathways for those with or at risk of developing deafblindness. And this is important, as I'm told that, apart from Deafblind Scotland, only a few small organisations offer specialist services to people with dual sensory loss. And some will argue this issue is not a priority, given the low incidence rate of this disability. But the consequences of not providing the right support can be catastrophic for people and their families, which is why ensuring the right services are in place is absolutely crucial. This point is reinforced by the fact that Deafblind Scotland have said that all too often they receive referrals for people who could have been provided with better emotional and practical support early in their transition to do a dual sensory loss. Now, I also understand that the Short Life Working Group of the CPG and Deafness has been set up to look at concerns about dual sensory loss being identified in care home residents. Now, I know that the cross-party group on visual impairment shares these concerns and the correlation with the cognitive decline. It's something that we discussed at our last meeting. In closing, Presiding Officer, I believe that Scotland should formally recognise deafblindness so that research and services can be designed to better support people affected by dual sensory loss. And once again, I do want to congratulate my colleague, Rona Mackay, for securing this hugely important members' debate. Thank you.